then after that, I really started getting into studying the Course. I always studied with Ken. I never studied with Helen. Helen, however, became like my therapist. I say like my therapist because it wasn't a formal relationship. I never paid her. We didn't have weekly sessions or anything. More like the nice idea of what a Jewish mother would be. Right?
Nice.
Yeah, it was very nice.
She was
very,
sort of like a mentor who could guide you and see your blind spots and things like that.
very, very kind to me. Always just kind of like super, like sort of. She had a way of taking these people under her wing and sort of guiding them along in the journey of life. And she decided I was somebody that needed
wing-worthy.
Wing-worthy. Yeah, that's a good term. Yeah, there were others as well, I'm sure, that she did that with. And so actually, I'll tell you a few funny stories about Helen.
Oh, great.
One that occurred almost immediately after that meeting. That was in April of '75. Also in April of '75. I was single. I was looking for my wife, but I hadn't found her yet. You know how that is. And so actually, I think I went through 3 heart-wrenching relationships during the time I knew Helen, which was really essentially during the last 5 years of Helen's life. And she was very, very helpful for me in trying to sort out my feelings and stuff during that time. So the first thing that happened was that first month, I broke off a relationship with this lady I'd started to see actually right away. I was clear that I didn't want to kind of continue to do that. And this lady in particular got very, very, very upset and started acting out and started calling at like 2 o'clock in the morning and either to wake me up or just let the phone ring to annoy me. And she came to the seminary where I was living at the time, and when the guard at the door told her that I wasn't in, she picked up a cup of coffee off his desk and threw it in his face. And it was very difficult because she actually literally physically attacked another lady that I was starting to see. She was waiting outside the door of the apartment actually, and when we came out to the hall, she was there, and I was able to restrain her.
Wow.
And nothing really
Basic
happened.
instincts was going on.
Oh, it was heavy. I felt terrible. I mean, I just felt so guilty about.
You felt guilty.
Oh well, yeah,
Right.
because I hurt somebody, and
Right.
the consequence of having hurt someone was
Right.
really, really incredible. So, so I went to see Helen about this situation because I was so upset about. I didn't even know how to handle it.
Right.
And it was interesting what Helen's advice was. Her advice was the next time she took call, I should talk to her and just support her and don't go back, but just be there for her and listen to hear her out.
Yes. Wow, that's so awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's interesting what Helen would do and she did this on other occasions as well. When she wanted to make a point with me, she'd reach out and she'd tap my knee.
That's cute.
And so I know when the knee tapping
Right,
happened.
then serious. Pay attention.
Pay attention. Yeah, then you pay attention, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And that's when and at the end of that session, she tapped my knee and she said, "You're not guilty." And I told her she didn't know what she was talking about because I was guilty. I had done this thing. I had hurt this person. And I wanted to believe her, but I didn't understand the Course yet. I mean, actually that was even prior to getting the manuscript copy of it.
Right.
And so of course I didn't understand what she was talking about.
Yeah.
But I did want to believe that. I mean, underneath it all, we're all innocent, and
Yes.
we're not guilty.
Yes.
Right.
But like you spoke about earlier, with the whole idea of the information we have about near-death experiences
Right.
and actually what is behind the veil, we have so much more information about it, so it's more easily digestible by this generation than it was then.
Yeah.
In the same way that Helen saying to you, "You're not guilty," is so outside of the agreement at
That's
that
right.
time
Oh, yeah.
than it is now. But even there are people, like I have a good friend who I said, I don't believe in sin, or that, there is a need for guilt, and she was like, what? And I said,
no, of course.
well, I don't believe it for me, but I also don't believe it for you. And she said,
Right.
oh no, I'm guilty. So I was like, all right, you fight for your limitations, you get to own them, but I'm not
Right.
going to own them for you.
Right.
But so it still is very undigestible for many people.
Oh, absolutely.
And in fact, if you look up A Course in Miracles, like the negative PR about it being a cult or whatever, the first thing is like, they don't believe in sin.
I know.
Like, this is appalling.
What would be really helpful is folks would understand that ultimately, that's kind of a better word to use. Ultimately, we're all perfect and we're all children of God. I just finished, actually, a few minutes ago, the last few pages of Anita Moorjani's book.
Oh.
Right, and she says exactly the same thing at the end of her book, that we're all perfect children of God. And that's one of the reasons that she thinks that she was cured of her cancer, is that she came to see that and to realize that. And then she came back to talk about it.
Right, and to be a messenger of that.
Right.
So this theme of near-death experiences, of nothing ever really dying in God, of us being perfect already, this is a theme that's been in your writing and will continue to be in your writing, because you're writing another book right now, and it'll be interesting to see from your core beliefs to the beliefs that have evolved over all of this time.
Right.
Where you go with it and what comes from it. So I'm excited to hear about that.
Actually, the title of my next book is called Perfect Happiness.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's based upon Lesson 101 from A Course in Miracles, which is called God's Will for You is Perfect Happiness.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that our function is happiness.
Absolutely, right?
Yes.
It's just really, really good.
Yes.
Like when you go to college and you take 101 courses, the first is, Lesson 101.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah, like the basic.
Yeah, the basic.
Get this.
Right. In fact, as we're talking to the publisher about exactly what the title wants to be, and they say they kind of like the title Lesson 101, Perfect Happiness.
Yeah.
I kind of just want to call it Perfect Happiness. We'll see what the book comes out next year. We'll see what
happens.
We'll see what
Who gets
happens.
their way. If you get to be right or happy.
Yeah, I think I want to write to them and say, whatever you want.
Yeah. So that's interesting, because even just today I was speaking to this woman who was in this relationship, and she, we stay in some classrooms and relationships because we come from a place of lack. Like, if I don't have this relationship, it's good enough, and I won't have anything, and that's
Right.
the ego talking, as opposed to like letting go what no longer serves you, so that you can really be in your function, which is true happiness. But we have to face and step through our fear of lack in order to do that, which is what keeps a lot of people boxed in. So and the deserving of happiness,
Right.
like here in America, we were even taught, like, we don't necessarily deserve it. We have the right to pursue it, but who knows if you're going to get it?
Right. But also the idea of what we have of what happiness is very different from what the Course in Miracles